This is Insta360 X5, a 360 camera that's supposed to revolutionize the action camera market. And since I'm a cycling content creator, that's naturally a very appealing promise for me. But even if you are not interested in sharing clips online, there is still merit for you to get this camera for cycling or even for things like vlogging and traveling. And I'm going to show you later why. The problem is, although the internet is already full of the reviews of this camera, the overwhelming majority of them is actually sponsored by Insta360. And don't get me wrong, I don't have any problems with paid partnerships between the content creator and the company. I actually have few of those myself. But I do have a problem when the company dictates how the review should be structured and when the company requests to approve the video before it's released, because that means that such reviews cannot contain any significant criticism. And with how competitive is the action camera market lately, rumors say that it's exactly what action camera companies tend to do when a new product releases. Whether or not are these rumors true, I decided I would skip the reviews this time and form my own opinion. So I went out on launch day and purchased this camera for my own money, and I'm going to share with you my thoughts on it. If it's good, I'll say it's good, but if there's something that sucks, there's no one and nothing stopping me from saying so. If you are not familiar with how 360 cameras work, the main appeal of them is that you can shoot without overwhelming yourself with what to shoot, the correct framing and stuff like that. 360 camera records everything around you, which means that you can focus on enjoying the experience, whether that's cycling, running, skiing or even traveling, and do decisions like framing later in the post-production. The problem with 360 cameras, at least up until this point, was that the image quality was abysmal. I was shooting with the predecessor, the Insta360 X4 last year cycling in the Alps, and I hated the image quality so much that I sold the camera immediately afterwards. Well, to be fair, there were more problems with it, but a little on that later. And that should change now. The camera more than doubled the size of image sensors and now has 3 AI processing chips. I know there are some people who are interested in full specs, so here you are. But I'm more interested about the actual real-world performance and the things that really matter. And for me, there are 4: the image quality, the audio quality, the user's experience, and reliability. And right off the bat, I am happy to say that this is the first action camera whose image quality I don't hate. Of course, it still can't compete with large sensor mirrorless cameras, but it is the first action camera that doesn't have that horrible over-sharpening in the image, at least when you set it correctly. More on that later. The main shooting mode records 8K footage at 30 frames per second. That doesn't mean your final image is going to have that resolution though. It is 8K for the full 360 image. The crop from that is about 2.7K, but honestly, it looks really good even on a very large screen. If you want to record in higher FPS to slow down the footage, you will need to go down with the resolution to 5.7K, which will result in the final image with a resolution of roughly 1080p. In this resolution you can also use the active HDR, which can help you in tricky lighting situations. I personally tend to not go down with the resolution as I very rarely slow down my footage and want as crisp of an image as possible, but if you want to upload to Facebook or Twitter, you are going to be fine with 5.7K. You can also switch the camera into a proper action camera mode in which only one of the lenses is recording. You will lose the ability to reframe your image later on, but in exchange you get a proper 4K 60fps footage, which is almost like other action cameras. There are 3 settings in the camera that are going to directly influence your image quality. The first one is bitrate. You can find it in the settings and will always want to set it on high. There's no reason not to, it flat out improves your image quality and the only cost for that is storage space. Always set it on high. Then there are image profiles. You can set them on standard, vivid or flat. You can see examples of all 3 on the screen right now. This one is purely a matter of personal preference. Let me know in the comment below which one do you prefer. And finally and most importantly, there's the image sharpness. For the love of God, set this to low. Having this on medium or even high causes that signature action camera over-sharpening that's so horrible to watch. If you want to, you can always sharpen the image later in post-production. But this is a setting that makes the difference between footage looking like a proper camera and, well, looking like any other action camera. One of the big selling points of X5 is the pure video mode that's supposed to deliver great image quality during low light situations. Now, I don't usually ride when it's dark, but I know it is important, so here's some footage of me walking in the dark to the KFC. It's probably not that important feature for cycling or other sports, but definitely good to have when using as a vlogging camera or when traveling. This camera records in 8-bit, but if you are wondering whether it is possible to reliably grade the footage out of it, here's a demonstration on how the footage looks like when graded with the Answer Pro. Insta360 claims that the X5 brought a big improvement to sound quality, especially when there is a lot of wind around the camera. There's even a dedicated wind muffler over one of the 4 microphones. There are 3 ways how you can set the audio treatment: high wind noise reduction, low wind noise reduction, and voice enhancement. Here's how all of them sound when going fairly fast on the bike.
This is the microphone test. I'm riding around 30 km/h, and this has a high wind reduction setting. How does it sound? This is the microphone test. I'm now riding around 30 km/h. I've got the setting set at low wind reduction. How does it sound? Can you hear the wind? This is the microphone test. It's me again, riding at around 30 km/h. I've got the setting set at voice enhancement and wind reduction off. How does it sound? It's very windy in here.
And here's how the microphone sounds when you are not in motion and just vlogging.
But of course this camera is not just an action camera. You can use it perfectly well for vlogging. Now I am using it in a single lens mode, and I'm using the voice enhancement mode for microphone settings, and you can see that the image quality is perfectly fine.
I will let you form your own opinion on the sound quality, but I think that it is clear that for any sort of commentary during fast action, the audio quality is still not sufficient, and I would definitely use a dedicated microphone. For a static vlogging setup or even slower action, however, I would say the audio quality is perfectly fine, especially with the voice enhancement turned on. When using 360 camera, your user's experience is going to be largely influenced by whether or not you mind editing your footage after the fact, because you can't use it without editing. You can do so either in desktop in Insta360 Studio, which is great but a lot of features are missing, or in a mobile Insta360 app, which recently got a big overhaul, and honestly I hate it. In this new version it is very unintuitive, and I sincerely hope they will overhaul it one more time, because in its current form the editing there is simply not pleasurable. I also already encountered some bugs there where if I trim a clip it does not remember the trim for keyframing and so on. But to be fair, as long as you can find the features you are looking for, it works fairly well and it is packed with different features. Particularly as a cyclist, what I find absolutely incredible is the ability to sync the app with your cycling computer and automatically add telemetry overlay over your footage. Previously I had to do that manually and with the use of external software. This is way more convenient. Here's a demonstration of different overlays you can use. As for the user's experience with the camera itself, it's very good. The display is bright and responsive, the menu system is very intuitive, and changing settings is very easy. What I love about the physical design of this camera is there is now ability to use magnetic mounts with X5. I don't have them yet for this camera as they are out of stock, but I've been using them with my DJI Action 5 Pro, and it's so much easier swapping camera between your handlebars, chest mount, and even your hands with this system. Big kudos for that. I also love that on each side there's a light that shines in a red color when the camera is recording. Oftentimes when I'm riding I have troubles remembering if I stop the recording. With this I don't have any such problems. You can also turn this off if you want to be more inconspicuous. As with most action cameras, you can start recording even when the camera is off. Usually there's a fair bit of delay though. With this camera, it's more than okay. In the beginning, I said there is a reason why you might want to get this camera even if you are not a content creator or if you do not want to record your rides, and that is road mode. What that is basically 360-degree dash cam. You can mount it on your handlebars or even in your car, allocate a specific amount of storage on your SD card, and the camera is going to loop record everything that's happening around you and add timestamp to that. And if something unfortunate happens, you've got a proof for an insurance claim or police report. When I was using the X4, the biggest deal breaker for me was that it failed on me in the most crucial moment, when I was recording my descent down the famous Alpe d'Huez and simply stopped recording. I don't know if that was camera's fault, if it overheated, or if I had a faulty SD card, but the result still was that I lost the footage that was very important to me. With this camera that didn't happen to me yet, and I recorded some pretty long blocks on the sun in one go. For what it's worth, I'm now using the 512GB SanDisk Extreme Pro memory card. As for overheating, I didn't do any still tests because honestly I'm only going to use this camera outside, and with the wind blowing around the camera the chance of it overheating is slim to none, but other reviewers report that it's way better than X4 in this regard. Battery life is very decent. I've recorded the footage in this video during a 3-hour ride. I was recording ton of clips, most of them in AK30. I was constantly messing with the settings and often I didn't even turn off the camera in between shooting, and I still returned with about 20% of the battery left. But if you want to take this through a full day of shooting, you might want to buy an extra battery or at least have a battery pack ready, because it recharges extremely quickly. Last but certainly not the least, you can now buy interchangeable lenses in the unlikely event you manage to crash and shatter one. It costs $35, and as per every reviewer who tried that, it is a very simple act to replace them. So what do I like and what I don't? For the first time, I like the image quality of 360 camera, especially when shooting in 8K. When the sharpness is set to low, the footage has nice detail without being over sharpened. The single lens mode image quality is fantastic. When shooting at 5.7K, the image quality can get a little muddy, but its usability largely depends on your use. So far the camera works flawlessly for me and the user's experience is very pleasant. I love how easily you can add telemetry data, and I love that you can use magnetic mounts. And now what I do not like. I still do not like the audio quality. It has improved compared to X4, but not to a point where I would comfortably use it for my content creation. So I will still need to use external microphone for my videos. I also do not like the current state of the Insta360 app. It's messy and it's confusing. Apart from few bugs it works, but it's not been a pleasurable experience. So despite those, is this going to become the camera for my outdoor content creation? Yes. I like it the most from all action cameras that I've tried so far, and I think that for the price it is a very good piece of gear. If you like this video, subscribe, and here's a little bonus, a footage from this camera of me doing an attempt on a local Strava KOM segment. See ya!